Gadadara Shiva Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're going to continue reading from Canto 4, Chapter 4. Now we are on text 27. Tata Swabhartus Charanam Bujasavam
स्वपरस्पर्तुश्चरणाम्बुजः
Jagadguros Chintayati Nachaparam
जगद्गुरुश्चिन्तयति न चापरम्
Tadarsha Deho Hatakalmasha Sati
ददर्शदेहो हतकल्मषः सति
Satya Prajajvala Samadhi Jakin Nina
सत्यप्रज्वलसमाधिजाग्निना.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sati concentrated all her meditation on the holy lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is the supreme spiritual master of all the world. Thus she became completely cleansed of all taints of sin and quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements. So yesterday we were hearing how Sati, she was doing the yogic process of taking the life air up from the chakras, the 6 chakras, from the abdomen to the navel, to the heart, to the throat, eyebrows, and then to the head. And also she was getting like concentrating on the fire within the body. Sati at once thought of the lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is one of the 3 great personalities of Godhead in charge of the management of the material world. And simply by meditating on his lotus feet, she derived such great pleasure that she forgot everything in relationship with her body. So, why is Lord Shiva called here? Who is one of the 3 great personalities of Godhead in charge of the management of the material world?
Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva.
That's great. That's correct. They are the Guna avatars. They are Krishna's Guna avatars who are in charge of the Gunas. So these Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they are in charge of the management of the material world. They don't manage the spiritual world, management of the material world. And so anyway, because Lord Shiva, he's a Guna avatar and he's a pure devotee, Sati meditated on his lotus feet and she completely was like in samadhi, on the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. This pleasure was certainly material because she gave up her body for another body that was also material. But by this example, we can appreciate the devotee's pleasure in concentrating his mind and attention on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Krishna. There is such transcendental bliss in simply meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord that one can forget everything but the Lord's transcendental form. So Prabhupada is explaining to us that the pleasure she's experiencing is material. Why? Because she's going to take another material body. She is going to come as Parvati. But he's saying we can appreciate that when the devotee, the pure devotee, when he fixes his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, that pleasure is transcendental. That is not material, transcendental. So we can see that always the devotees are always praising Lord Krishna's lotus feet. There's also a beautiful prayer by Srila Rupa Goswami where he is um, speaking about the toes of the Lord. Just speaking how the toes of the Lord are so enamoring, you know, the 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 effulgence which is coming from the toes of the Lord. And so the devotees are always finding such great pleasure at the lotus feet of the Lord that the Lord himself thinks, oh my God, what is it that the devotee has to do with my feet? Why they always want to be at my feet? And so does anyone know what does the Lord do in that regard? He, when the pralaya comes, we see him as a baby and he's sucking his toes. He also wants to see, why, what pleasure do my devotees get? Let me also try to taste this pleasure. So he's always wondering, what pleasure are the devotees getting? They're feeling more bliss than me. So there is such transcendental bliss in simply meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord that one can forget everything but the Lord's transcendental form. This is the perfection of yogic samadhi or ecstasy. In this verse, it is stated, by such meditation, she became free from all contamination. So what was the contamination of Sati? The contamination was her concept of the body derived from Daksh. But she forgot that bodily relationship in trance. So Sati was thinking, oh, I'm related to Daksh, I'm related to Daksh. That was a contamination because she's actually pure spirit. But she's thinking, oh, this body is given to me by Daksh. So I want to destroy this body. And that is the contamination Prabhupada is saying. So, but once she concentrated her mind on Lord Shiva, she forgot everything. She was just remembering Lord Shiva's lotus feet. The purport is that when one becomes free from all bodily relationships within this material world and simply places himself in the position of an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that all the contamination of his material attachment has been burned by the blazing fires of transcendental ecstasy. So we may say, oh, I want to give up my material attachment. What I want to give up my material attachment. But what does it actually mean? It means getting attached to Krishna. It's very difficult for us to give up something. But when we get something which is higher, then automatically we don't care for something lower because we have a higher taste. So if we can simply try to get attached to Krishna, get attached to chanting his holy name, to hearing about him, remembering him, worshipping his deity, then automatically the material attachment is gone. It is not necessary for one to manifest a blazing fire externally. For if one forgets all his bodily relationships within this material world and becomes situated in his spiritual identity, it is said that one has been freed from all material contamination by the blazing fire of yogic samadhi or ecstasy. So we can see also, does anyone remember any pastimes where initially there was some material attachment, but by seeing the Lord or by engaging in devotional service, the material attachment goes away? Does anyone remember? Dhruva Maharaj is one such example. Dhruva Maharaj, he approached the Lord because he wanted a greater kingdom, even than Lord Brahma. So he had this material attachment. But once he saw the Lord, he was like, I don't care for anything. I was looking for broken pieces of glass, he says. So it's automatically, we don't have to endeavor separately to give up material attachment. We simply need to get attached to Krishna. That is the topmost perfection of yoga. If one keeps his bodily relationships within this material world and poses himself as a great yogi, he is not a bona fide yogi. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, Text 15, it is stated, Yat Kirtanam Yat Smaranam, simply by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, simply by remembering the lotus feet of Krishna, simply by offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One is immediately freed from material contamination, the material bodily concept, by the blazing fire of ecstasy. This effect takes place immediately without a second's delay. So we may say, oh, but I'm hearing, I'm chanting, I still have a lot of material attachments. What to do? What's happening? How can we understand that this statement is correct? Well, we have to try to understand that to what degree are we surrendering ourselves to Krishna? In what way are we chanting the name? In what way are we remembering Krishna? But if there is uh, and then we may also not know what do you mean by 100% surrender. We simply continue to hear and chant, and this uh, freedom from material contamination does happen. We don't realize it, or we may not realize it, but it does happen. We simply hear and chant, remember Krishna, worship the deity, and our all these impurities do go away because it's a science. Science says you take two parts of hydrogen and part of oxygen, you will get water. So we simply follow the process. We will go back home, back to Godhead. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, that Sati quit her body means that she gave up within her heart a relationship with Daksh. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also comments that since Sati is the superintendent deity of the external potency, when she quit her body, she did not get a spiritual body, but simply transferred from the body she had received from Daksh. So Srila Jiva Goswami, one of the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, very scholarly devotee, he's written his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. So he is saying, he is explaining that what does it mean that Sati is giving up her body, means she's giving up her relationship with Daksh. She did not want to be related to Daksh anymore. She's like, he's such a blasphemous person. I don't want to be related to him. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, also a great acharya in our line, he's written wonderful commentary. He is saying that how can we understand it? That Sati, she still has a service to Krishna. Her service is not finished. So she needs a body to do the service. And that's the reason she gets another material body. She is, after all, the personification of Krishna's external energy. She is Krishna's external energy personified. So she still has a lot of things to do. And so she simply transfers from one body to another. Other commentators also say that she immediately transferred herself into the womb of Menaka, her future mother. She gave up the body she had received from Daksh and immediately transferred herself to another better body. But this does not mean that she got a spiritual body. So she's coming again. She's going to come as Parvati because she's Lord Shiva's eternal consort and she still has the services to be done. So she's going to come as Parvati. She just does not want to be associated with Daksh anymore. She wants to give that up. Now, does that encourage us to commit suicide? Does it mean that, oh yeah, I can commit suicide and anyway I'll get another body and that'll be all right? What do you think? Somebody might say, oh yeah, I don't want to be related to this person, so I want to give up my body and I'm going to take up another body. So, someone may misuse this. What do you think? Anyone?
No, you can't commit suicide.
That's right.
Yeah, like the Maharaj already said, Hare Krishna, sorry. Like the Maharaj already said yesterday, just don't associate with such people. That's also like giving up body.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We cannot commit suicide. We cannot say, I'm going to give up my body. We avoid the blasphemers, but we may find some other excuse to commit suicide. But no, we cannot. Here, Sati, she is able to do such things because she is the personification of the external energy of Krishna. We are not. So we cannot imitate great personalities. She's a great personality. She's already choosing where to go again, which womb to go to. We can't do all that. And we have no right to take, what do you say? This body that is given to us is a gift given to us by Krishna via the material nature. So if we commit suicide, we are telling Krishna, we are telling Mother Nature, oh, I don't want a gross body anymore. So then what happens is we don't get a gross body. Then we become ghosts and spirits and remain in a subtle body till someone really can take pity on us. Somehow the other we can get a gross body again. So that's what it is.
Yeah, and another person like whom the devotee is attached to Krishna, who, I mean, I think I could think of Draupadi, like when she was getting disrobed and that time she didn't think, then suddenly when she surrendered, she called for Krishna and he came. Is
Yeah,
that?
that's good. Yes. Yes, when she called to Krishna, she came. Well, here we were looking at that specific that there was material desire in some devotee's heart, and because he approached Krishna, then the material desire went away. That was the specific pastime. So also reminds me of the thief who heard Bhagavatam. And in Bhagavatam, he heard the beautiful descriptions of the ornaments that Krishna wears. And so he wanted to see Krishna because he wanted to steal the ornaments. And he asked the speaker of Bhagavatam, hey, where can I find this boy Krishna that you're talking about who has so much ornaments? He said, you go to Vrindavan, you'll find Krishna Balaram there. So he was waiting for Krishna Balaram. And he actually saw Krishna. His eagerness was so much. He was so eager, although he wanted the ornaments. So he had a material desire. See, his desire is material, but his eagerness was so much that he actually saw Krishna. And he had faith in the words of the Bhagavatam, that yes, Krishna is there and he is wearing such ornaments. And so he wanted to see Krishna and take the ornaments. And of course, once he saw Krishna, then the desire went away. Although Krishna tried to play with him, no, I will not give you these ornaments. This my mother has given me. What will she say? And the thief was trying to take it. Then finally the thief told Krishna, I don't want these ornaments. I just want you. Krishna told him, take now, take the ornaments. And the thief said, no, I don't want. I just want you. So these are the two examples that come immediately to my mind. I'm sure there are many more. Yeah. Pashyatam ke bhuvichadbhutam mahat
Pashyatam ke bhuvichadbhutam mahat
ahe devada sumahan ajayata
ahi devada sumaha ajayata
hanta priyadevat masya devi
antarpriya devatamasya devi
jahavasun sati prakopita.
jahavasunkena sati prakopita.
So when Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous row all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? There was a tumultuous roaring all over the universe in the societies of the demigods of different planets, because Sati was the daughter of Daksh, the greatest of all kings, and the wife of Lord Shiva, the greatest of all demigods. Why did she become so angry that she gave up her body? Since she was the daughter of a great personality and wife of a great personality, she had nothing to desire, but still she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. Certainly, this was astonishing. So this also goes to show, that there are living beings apart from us on this earth. It's not that other planets are all vacant and nobody's living there, or that on the other planets people look like, the living entities look like ugly, deformed creatures. No, no. Higher planetary systems, they're very beautiful. And so everyone is wondering what happened, what happened. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the greatest material opulence. There was nothing Sati could not achieve either from her relationship with her father or from her relationship with the greatest of the demigods, but still, for some reason, she was dissatisfied. So, this goes on to show that in the material world, we cannot be completely satisfied. There will be something which we are gonna say, oh, but I wish this could change. So here we are trying to understand that Sati, her father, is so powerful. He could get her whatever she wanted. Any material opulence he could get her. And here, husband, Lord Shiva, a pure devotee of the Lord, what more could she ask for? And yet, somehow the other, there was a reason for her to be dissatisfied. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam 126 explains that one has to achieve real satisfaction. Yayatma suprasidati. Yayatma suprasidati. But Atma, the body, mind, and soul, all become completely satisfied only if one develops a devotional service to the absolute truth. Savaipam samparo dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje. So, how can we experience this complete eternal bliss? Completely satisfied. There is no cause of dissatisfaction, there's no cause of suffering or misery. Only when we can engage in devotional service to the absolute truth. Savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje. And then yayatma suprasidati. The self becomes completely satisfied, real satisfaction. We are the soul, and we are trying to get satisfaction from the material objects, and that is what is our mistake. We are trying to find pleasure in the material, but nothing material can give pleasure to the soul because we are spiritual. So only the spiritual can give pleasure to the spiritual. Only when we engage in devotional service to Krishna can we actually experience this spiritual pleasure that we are all hankering for. Adokshaja means the absolute truth. If one can develop his unflinching love for the transcendental supreme personality of Godhead, that can give complete satisfaction. Otherwise, there is no possibility of satisfaction in the material world or anywhere else. So Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita that this material world, abhuvar bhavana loka, that, from the lowest planet to the highest planet are all temporary places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. He says that to Arjuna um, in Bhagavad Gita. So, how can we achieve this complete satisfaction when we revive our love for Krishna? Love for Krishna is there in each and everyone's heart. It's not artificial, it's not that we have to put it there. No, it's already there. We simply have to revive it, rekindle it. Like when there is a loving relationship between two people, for some reason or the other, the relationship is lost for some time. So then we have to, when we have done wrong to someone we love a lot, then what do? We have to tell them, oh, I'm so sorry, I love you a lot, I'm so sorry, I don't know what did I do. So this is what we have to revive our relationship with Krishna. By hearing and chanting, we can easily revive this relationship and experience the highest pleasure. Yayatma su prasidati. Is that okay?
Yes.
So, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for listening and enjoying.